Hello and welcome to Anime Animosity. And it's that time once again. As the seasons change, spring transfers into summer and the weather picks up. Hopefully, depending on where you are. As someone that lives in the UK, well, it can be hit and miss. And as I'm talking about the weather, it's very evident that I have nothing to talk about. And that was a terrible segue into this, because I do have something to talk about. As you can see, we are on livechart.me, and we will be going through the summer 2021 anime. We're doing a quick rundown through every show that is continuing to air and will be airing. If you want to go through this yourself in your own time, there'll be a link to livechart.me in the description below. There's the trademark animosity fumble. It's not a trademark, and it's hardly consistent, but that's not the point. Let's do this and go through the summer 2021 anime. First up, My Hero Season 5. I'm not going to be watching it. I didn't watch it last season when it started. I'm not going to pick it up now. I haven't even watched more than the first episode of Season 2. That's where I stopped watching it. I'm just not a big fan of My Hero. As an anime, as a story, I think it's like average shonen. To me, it doesn't do anything exemplary. The community, on the other hand, I hate. The fandom, despise it. And that's part of the reason I will never invest time into My Hero. If you want to hear my thoughts on the My Hero fandom and other fandoms, there'll be a card popping up in the top right to a video where I do just that. I rant about fandoms. Sorry. Well, that was an interesting pause. I got distracted by a notification on my phone. How very professional. Next up, Fumetsu no Anata E. Another show that we're continuing into the summer season. Now, this one is one that I haven't gone past episode 4 of. I didn't dislike the 4 episodes I watched, don't get me wrong. I thought they were alright. I don't quite understand why everyone's going, yo, this is like the shit, you know, bro, what the fuck? Like, for me, it's alright. It just hasn't hit for me yet. So I'm going to wait for it to finish, and I will most likely, when it has finished, binge the 20 episodes that we'll have at the point. But right now, I'm putting it to the sideline. Another show that I'm putting to the sideline, but for a different reason, is Urumakun. Now, I loved the first season, and the handful of episodes of season 2 that I've watched, I've also loved. However, for me, this is something I'm going to prefer to binge. This is a show that, having binged season 1, it will feel more natural for me to binge season 2. On top of that, it's just a show that feels more right to binge. That's just me. I have no idea if I'm sounding crazy or not. Another show that's continuing the season, Shaman King, and will be continuing for many, many seasons to come. Due to the predicament of actually trying to watch it, I have not been watching it. Same thing applies to In Zero. Take that how you will. So, now then, on to shows that are actually starting this season. So, we have, first up, the second season of the Slime Isekai, Part 2. I worded that really weirdly. Part 2 of the second season of the Slime Isekai. This I'm really looking forward to. It pains me that I can't remember the dragon's name, but at the end of the first part, he got a human form, Rimuru became a demon lord. Minor spoilers, by the way. I probably should have prefaced that with this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I absolutely loved the show. Season 2, Part 1 was fantastic. I loved Season 1. I can't express any more than that how much I'm looking forward to the second part. And I hope you guys are as well, because this is a really good isekai. Not quite on the level of Mushoku Tensei, which is arguably the best isekai, but this is fantastic. You didn't even see the timer countdown. Bam, there's exactly 1 minute less now. Fantastic. Right, something I will not be watching. Kobayashi-san Chi no Dragon Maid S. The second season of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I won't be watching this for the sole reason of I haven't watched season 1. And I haven't got any plans to watch season 1 either. I know that's probably blasphemous to many of you, because I know the show is very popular, at least season 1 was, but to me, it's just not my thing. I have a handful of friends that are also very excited about the season, and have also told me countless times that, oh, watch it, it's really good, but I'm like, no, I don't really feel like it. That's how it is. So I will not be watching Kobayashi-san Chi no Dragon Maid. Next up, Otomege no Hametsu Flag Shikai na Akuyaku 令嬢に転生したしまった X. I'm not going to bother checking the rest of the title. Second season of My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. Now, I didn't watch season 1, and as such, I won't be watching season 2, unless by the time that this finishes, I watch season 1. Do I plan to? It's not necessarily on my radar, but I also have no reason not to. Yeah. Now, the weird thing with this is, from someone that I know, they have said that, they're someone that's watched it, they said that apparently the first season of the show covered to the end of the light novel. Now, based on that, the fact it's getting a second season, I'm almost certain that they're misinformed. Or perhaps more volumes have come out since then, and it is no longer to the end of the light novel. But they're in some way misinformation. And as such, I don't know why I mentioned that. I just thought I'd bring it up as a point to talk about. But yeah, as things stand right now, I will not be watching this next season. Next up, Genjitsu Shugi Yusha no Okoku Saikenki. This is a show I will be watching. Now, with the tags of harem romance, this is a show that if it came out a year ago, or had it come out before I got into anime, I'd have been right on this. This is probably one of the first things I watched with those tags, as my tastes were, well, you know, I was very picky back then. And to be honest, I'm more picky now than I was then, but for very different things. That was an interesting tangent. Anyway, now, however, harem romance, unless it's done well, like quintuplets, I'm going to give a miss. However, this show I will be checking out, as it's caught my eye. I like the art style for it, it's done by JC staff, so it's going to be animated decently. And on top of that, as far as I'm aware, the main character and lead female are voiced by Rem and Subaru from ReZero. So, all the more reason to go check the show out. If you weren't already going to check it out, maybe that's incentive for you to give it a watch. I don't know how good this show is, based on, I don't know how good or popular the light novel is, but it's at least popular enough to get an anime adaptation. But nowadays that doesn't really mean shit. We'll see how good this is. But given that it's a harem romance, it may end up being pretty shit. But then again, it's not an ecchi, so it might redeem itself in that regard. So next up, we have the second season of I'm Standing on a Million Lives. Now, the first season of this aired last year, and I watched, and thought was very, very mediocre. And as such, I'm going to be watching season 2 to see if it continues that trend of being very, very mediocre. Why? Because I'm a masochist, apparently. I didn't dislike the show, I just thought it was really mediocre. It was animated, like, subparly, had a mediocre plot with kind of dull characters. Like, it just didn't hit well in any spots. So I'm going to see how much of a train wreck the second season can be, or if it can maybe salvage the train wreck that was season 1. Well, I say train wreck, it wasn't atrocious, but, you know, it wasn't a great show. We'll see if season 2 can do anything about that. Next up, we have Mahoka Koku no Yutose, which is, the English title is the honor student at Magic Academy. It's, as you can see, a spin-off of Irregular Magic High School. I said Academy first time, didn't I? Fuck! Well, the title should imply very much what it's going to be about. It'll focus on, presumably, Miyuki, the honor student at Magic Academy. Like, what's more to say? Now, will I be watching this? Maybe, I don't know. Spin-offs aren't normally my thing, but I might check it out because I do quite like the Mahoka series. I'm looking forward to the third season that's been confirmed. But will I watch this? Maybe I'll check out like the first episode or two. But as things stand, this is probably going to be a dodge for me. Next up, Seirei Gensoki. This is something I actually haven't heard of. This is new on live chat between checking now and last time I checked. Let me have a quick read of the synopsis. Meet Ryo, a callous orphan boy living in the slums. Only 7 years old, he realizes he's actually the reincarnation of Haruto Amakawa, a Japanese university student with a tragic past. While still reeling from the shocking epiphany, Ryo also comes to learn that he possesses extremely potent magical abilities and uses his power to solve the kidnapping case of a little girl. His good deed is acknowledged, and he is rewarded by being enrolled into a prestigious academy for noble children. Right. Okay then. It's just a magic school show. With presumably an OP main character. I assume a harem will build up around him eventually, even though it doesn't say it's a harem here, but that's what I expect to happen. I'll probably watch it, because if it's bad, I can complain about it. And if it's good, well, hey, it'll have been worth watching. So I'll check out a handful of episodes of it, because some of its aspects are right up my alley, some of it not quite. The potential of it being a harem, meh. Magic School is a bit iffy of a genre. But beside that, it could be interesting, you know? There's reincarnation and magic. There's a lot of things here going on. I know next to nothing about this. I've never heard of the novel. No wonder. I'm not Japanese. I don't know Japanese quote-unquote literature. Yeah, that's that. Next up, Tsuki ga Michibiku Isekai Dochu. Okay. I assume that this is an isekai based on it having isekai in the title. Makoto Misumi was just an ordinary high school student when he, due to certain circumstances his parents were facing, gets summoned to another world to become a hero. So this is like, he's aware that he's gone to another world, okay? And seemingly by the choice of his parents. Kind of like an Iruma concept. The goddess of the world, however, insults him for his ugly face and strips his hero title, before casting him off to the wilderness at the edge of the world. As he wanders the wilderness, Makoto encounters dragons, spiders, orcs, dwarves, and all sorts of non-human tribes. Because Makoto comes from a different world, he is able to unleash unimaginable magic power and combat skill. But just how will he handle his encounters with various species, and survive in his new environment? Join Makoto in this fantasy as he transforms the other world into a better place despite the humans and gods having turned their backs on him. This is kind of like a quote-unquote underdog story, even though it's not, because he's going to be OP from the beginning. I actually have a video planned to talk about underdog stories and how not to do them, and how Naruto is an example of a bad one. But that's not the topic here. This is just, it's just yet another generic main character who's not very good looking, so the average weeb can project onto him, gets sent to another world so that he can do something. And, oh look, he's OP. You can be like that too. No, you can't. It has a similar setup to Slime Sky with them encountering, other species and tribes of them. I assume that he'll end up quite like on good terms with them. Probably not in the same city builder civilization type thing as Slime Sky. But hey, maybe this will be worth a watch. I'll check it out. Nonetheless, whether or not I drop it is another story. Next up, Chikushi no Slow Life Isekai ni Tsukuro Drugstore. The drugstore in another world. Another slow life anime, the one that's airing right now. It doesn't have slow life in the title, but is quote unquote a slow life. Now that show has exceeded my expectations, but you'll hear more about that next week. This show, I'll probably say the same thing about this as I did Been Killing Slimes for 100 years, is that it doesn't look like it's my type of thing, so I probably won't watch it. But then what will end up happening is I might check out a few episodes at some point after a handful of aired, and then my opinion will either change, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the fuck out of this is good, or I'm like, nah, bruh, get that shit a miss. Sorry, you're being dropped. So yeah, this is one that's up in the air. But if it can hold to the same standard that I've Been Killing Slimes for 100 years can, then this will actually be really good. But I don't know if it does. Next up, Kanojo mo Kanojo. Not the cultured anime, Kanojo mo Kanojo. I know nothing about this. It's a romance, slice of life school anime, so I'm going to watch the fuck out of it. These girls are all pretty cute. You've probably got like what? Classic tsundere, shy girl. One of these two will be a Genki childhood friend, and the other one will be like classmate that is also close friend. Maybe not Genki. Yeah, so I've just just by looking at the designs, I can either that should be like an Ojo-sama type character, and one of these will be a tsundere, and the other one will be the Genki type. I'm just caught wit of this. Oh, actually, hold on. Naoya just got a girlfriend, the gorgeous Saki-chan, and their intensities often pit them against each other like fire and ice. They're totally uncontrollably in love with each other. He vows never to cheat, but when out of the blue he receives another confession. Nagisa, cute, sweet, and she's made him lunch to boot. Don't be cringe. He knows he can't cheat, but he can't let a cute like this get away. So he does the logical question mark thing. Asks Saki for permission to date them both. The confidence, the arrogance, the very gall. Stop. The audacity of this bitch, please. No matter the outcome, now your future will be lively. So is this man going to get a consensual harem? If so, this will be interesting to see how this plays out. Alas, it's a comedy, not a drama, so it won't have like the spice that something like, as bad of a show as it is, as School Days had. You know what? I'm probably going to watch all of this. This has caught my eye. Yeah. Next we have Bokatachi no Remake. The first episode will be an extended 60-minute time slot. Presumably that means that if it had only been one episode, not much would happen. I don't actually know much about this. So let's read the synopsis, shall we? This is, given that I'm reading a lot of the synopses for these, this video will probably be a lot longer than the first rundown that I ever did. But anyway, Hashibi Kyoya is a 28-year-old game developer with his company going bankrupt, and losing his job, he returns to his hometown looking for success good Christ, slow down. Looking at the success of creators of his age. He finds himself regretting his life decisions as he lay distressed on his bed. When he opens his eyes, he finds that he has travelled 10 years back in time before he entered college. Will he finally make things right? The story is about a failed person who was given a second opportunity to follow his dreams. Okay, with the second chance thing, this gives me very much Mushoku Tensei vibes. If you watch my video on that, card on the top right, there'll be a link to it. You know that I love that because of that aspect of the second chance. However, this seems to be like focusing very heavily on the second chance instead of it being like a subtle undertone. So it might be ham-fisted, it might not be, but this is actually pretty interesting. It's also a romance. As you can see, there are 3 girls here. They're all very cute, got bubbly designs. Studio feel, I can't think of anything that's on the top of my head, but I'm sure that this will look pretty. If the show looks anything like this, it'll at least be decent. So I'm actually looking forward to this. This seems really interesting. It's got a similar concept to Tokyo Revengers, in the going back in time. Obviously, this is nothing like Tokyo Revengers. Good Christ, is it not? By the sounds of it, at least. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll turn into a Tokyo Revengers. It definitely won't. But yeah, this has caught my eye. I'll definitely give this a watch. And I recommend you to as well, if you're into the same type of shows I am. How will you know if you're into the same type of shows as I am? Well, I plan on doing my anime list walkthrough at some point in the future. So then you can know. Make You Black Company. This name rings a bell. I don't know much of it. Now, I could read through this, but I'm not going to. But I'm definitely going to watch this just because I think it looks kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? And the name rings a bell. So I've probably heard about it at some point. So I'll give this a watch. Next up, Tante wa mo shinderu. Something about a detective and dying. And the first episode will be a 1-hour special. Wow, that probably means if the episode was the usual time, it would be really boring. So I assume it's about a detective. The story begins without its hero. He's always been a magnet for trouble and intrigue. For as long as he can remember, he's been stumbling across murder scenes or receiving mysterious attaché cases to transport. When he met Siesta, a brilliant detective fighting a secret war against an organization of pseudo-humans who couldn't resist the call to become her assistant and join her in an epic journey across the world. Until a year ago, that is. Now he's returned to a life that is normal and tepid. By comparison, knowing the adventure must be over, after all, the detective is already dead. Interesting premise. Oh shit. It's a romance. Probably he had a romance with the detective, who's this girl, and probably dead, but he ended up with a romance with one of these 3. Or he'll date a ghost. I've seen Stranger, but this seems interesting. I don't know where the story will go, but I like the idea, so we'll give this a watch. More Wonder Egg Priority. Speaking of Wonder Egg, I do actually need to watch that. Moving on. This I will most likely not be watching. Fucking Megami Ryo no Ryobu-kun. 12-year-old boy, ecchi, romance, eesh. House caught on fire, he's roaming the streets. You know, I'll watch like the first episode, but conceptually I do not like the sound of this. Next up, Peach Boy Riverside. Another thing I've never heard of. Princess of a Kingdom. Traveling the World, Dangerous Dream. There's a land where monsters roam the countryside. Ruthless Demon Slayer. Okay, typical adventure fantasy story. Well, I say typical. Has the setup of a typical adventure fantasy story. Whether or not it'll be good, fuck if I know. Will I give it a watch? Yeah, probably. I'll check it out. Give the first handful of episodes a watch. Give it time to give itself, get into itself. Next up, this. It's going to be a 2-core series. It's only the first core. Nah. For me, this isn't really my type of thing. Even though it really should be, it's a comedy / life. But, like, I don't have time to watch everything, so there are things that I'm going to not be able to watch. And the same thing can be applied to this next thing. Shinigami Bo-chan to Kuro Meido. Yeah. I'm not going to be watching this. It's how it is. This is also something I've never heard of. Daite Gyobyo de Battery. No, I have. This isn't airing for 8. This isn't actually airing till late into the month 12. It's late into the season. Yeah, I'll give like the first episode a look, but the chains worry me because they're probably going to be CGI, and if the show uses a lot of CGI, it's going to look awful. It might be like a battle show. It probably is going to be like kind of like Darwin's Gamey, but probably not to the same level as Darwin's Game. Another show that I'm going to be giving a miss. Just doesn't pique my interest. It's done by Mappa, so it probably look really good, although very simplistic, as we can see from the picture here. Probably going to give it a miss. This next one is very interesting. Scarlet Nexus. The game for this is coming out in about a week and a bit from when I'm recording this. I was going to play it and upload it to the channel, but I've since decided not to do that. As such, I'll be checking the anime out to experience the story. Now, it's coming out at an interesting point. Not long after the game came out, but decently enough that the people that will have binged through the game to play it will not be spoiled in the story by watching the show, and the people that won't be playing the game can watch the anime. This has caught my eye because Scarlet Nexus, like, aesthetically looks fantastic. I love the whole idea of it. So I'm going to be watching this, and I hope it's good. I really hope this is good. And I recommend you watch this as well, because Scarlet Nexus looks fantastic. Vanitas no carte. Another 2-core series about vampires. Oh, another historical vampire show. Oh, but it's done by Bones. Okay. I was originally going to write this off due to the historical vampire show saying this season being really boring, but this is done by Bones. Okay? Bones are a really good studio. So this might actually be fantastic. Yeah. Higurashi, I haven't actually watched all of Go. I've watched the first 9 episodes, so I need to finish that. So I won't be watching this. Shiroi's, yeah, nah. PA works, they animate stuff nicely, but yeah, the aquarium, yeah. I mean, this sounds like it'd be wholesome, so maybe I'll check a couple of episodes of this out. But again, I can't watch everything. I don't have time to. This doesn't have an air date. It's Madoka Magica Gaiden, the 2nd season. Okay. I haven't watched the 1st season. Won't be watching it. It's done by Shaft. I didn't know that, so I might check that out. Go for the Shaft. Stay for whatever else. Kingdom. No, go away. Apparently, anime's bad. Read the manga. Sunny Boy. Never heard of it. Done by Madhouse. Nighthead. I don't like the look of this. I know I'm going through these last ones a lot quicker, but that's because I feel like I've been recording for a very long time and I don't want this video to take an hour. Blue Reflection Raid. This is actually, so this is another thing that's continuing. I'm not watching it. Too caught. Don't care. Couldn't care less. Based on a game. Don't care. Love Live, not a Love Live fan. Remain, is this water polo? This is Lamau. If you like water polo, bam, the anime for you. Kaizoku Ojo. Oh, this is the Adult Swim Crunchyroll collab thing. I might check this out. I might give this a quick watch. At least a handful of episodes of it. Kageki Shoujo. Maybe. Musical Drama Academy. Actually, maybe not now. You know, nah. Some robot shit. This is another sports show, but it's about girls doing so K-On! But with baseball. Nah. Idolish, don't care. Idolish, don't care. Don't care. Yami Shibai. Oh my god, why is the scroll being so jarring? Jesus. I haven't watched any of it, so no. Gundam. Well, that's not Gundam, but Mecha anime, no. Yeah. And that is all for this season. I know I rushed a lot of the ones at the end and didn't really talk about them, but I feel like I touched on the big ones. The ones that will be the big players of this upcoming season. And I hope you'll check out the ones that caught your eye. And I hope you enjoyed me going through them. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here? Because if you didn't enjoy it, you probably aren't. And you probably click the link in the description below to go through them yourself. But anyway, that's enough from me. I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I'll get you all next time for another video. Ta-ta for now.